Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we are going to be doing some work regarding the Grand Emporium over here. So recently I added this to the collection, which is really awesome to see. And for those of you that don't know, this is from 2010. That was the modular that came out that year. And I managed to pick it up at Bricks and Minifigs, and so I'll put that video in the top right if you guys didn't see that yet. So that is where it came from, and so now it is currently in the city, and in a different video I had reviewed it and placed it in the city for you guys, and I tried out a couple different options. I tried it back there where my finger is right now, and I also tried it up here, but for the channel members I also tried it where the Brick Bank is and also the Palace Cinema, and the overwhelming majority between everybody was that it should go either here or where the Palace Cinema is. And so if I put it where the Palace Cinema is, then I'm going to have a tin building here next to the Grand Emporium. So that would be a lot, and then it would like a lot of the same color. So then I would have to move this building and put a different one there. That seems like a lot, and then because I'm pretty happy with the rest of the layout at the moment, and also the buildings that are right under me here with the Holiday Main Street and the Tudor Corner and all that. So I think I'm going to leave it as it is. I think I'm going to put the Grand Emporium here, and so that's what today's video is for. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to finalize the sidewalk details and also the other buildings around it as well, because I like the pizza shop on the right here. You can see the depth from the sidewalk. I think that looks pretty good, but when you start to come over this way to the flower shop that I am currently working on, or I guess is a work in progress, it needs a little bit of work, both in terms of depth on the base plate and also the facade, obviously. But today's video is going to fix that. So without me talking too much, we're just going to jump right in. All right, so before I take the Grand Emporium out and then fix up some of the missing pieces on the model here, and then we can tile in the sidewalk, what I want to do is I want to actually pull this base plate out here that has the flower shop and the Lego store on it. So then we can attach the Lego store to it, first of all, because it's actually not even attached. It's on its own half base plate, and I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. So we're going to do that, and then we are going to move the flower shop back 2 studs on the base plate, because as you can see, it sticks out 3 studs from the Grand Emporium right now. So the gray, the green, and then the white right there. So we're going to move it back 2 studs, so then it kind of looks like how the pizza shop does, and I think that'll give it a nice look. And then this corner here will be pretty much good to go in terms of the buildings here and the buildings here. Then we can fix up the Grand Emporium, and this will look a lot better. All right, so I figured I would start with moving the flower shop back. That was probably the easiest thing. And then, so I moved it back to 2 studs, and now I just have to go in and fill the gap for the sidewalk here. And that's a pretty easy fix because I did recently buy a bunch of tiles because I keep using them and I keep running out of them. But that is pretty much that. And then, so this is all good to go. I did also change the Technic pins, so that is where they are supposed to be. And so that is pretty good. And then, so now what I need to do is take the Lego store off of the half base plate and then put it on this one right here. And then it'll be pretty much good to go. I do need to figure out the white wall as well, because if I put the Lego store on here just kind of rough like that, you can see that white right there, and I don't love that, so that needs to get fixed. So I don't have enough sand green, I don't think, to finish this whole building and keep the sides sand green as well. So what I think I'm going to do is move this white wall to this. Let me spin this around for you. I think moving that white wall over to here, because the Grand Emporium is tall enough, it'll block all of that, and then that should be good to go. This building needs a lot of work. I don't know if we're going to get to finishing this in today's video. I guess we can see, we can try, but I guess we will kind of just take it one step at a time. So without me worrying too much about that, we're going to focus on the Lego store now, and I have to take all of the tiles off of this base plate here and then transfer them over. I feel like this is like probably the 4th time, 5th time I've done this, because I keep changing my mind about it. Especially a couple months ago, I kept changing my mind about it, but I think this is going to be a good spot for it, and so I'm pretty confident that once I change it from the half base plate to the full base plate, I won't have to do this again, or at least it'll be a long time before I have to do it again. So let's go and do that right now, and then we can place this back in the city and fix up the Grand Emporium. All right, so that was a pretty simple but kind of tedious task of just ripping all the tiles off of this. But now that that is good, it's on the base plate here. And I also went ahead and I added the extra tiles on the edge as well. So then that could clip to the sidewalk extenders on the road. And that is pretty much that. Like I said, I would love to work on this today, but unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to have the time for that. And so the point of the video is the Grand Emporium and all of that. So now that this is done, let's go ahead and place this in the city. And then we can see how it looks next to the Grand Emporium. And then we can take it from there and start to fix up the Grand Emporium itself and then integrate that in properly. All right, so as you can see, the Lego store and the flower shop, or I guess part of the flower shop, is in now. And as you can see, the depth on it between the two buildings there, I think is good. It's not as drastic as it was earlier. And the pizza shop here, it kind of matches that depth there, and I think that looks pretty good. So I'm happy with this. I think this is looking pretty good. And so with that being said, we're going to take the Grand Emporium out now. We're going to fix that up because there's a couple pieces missing. So we are going to hopefully fix up all of those. I haven't actually checked if I have those pieces. So hopefully I do. And then we can go ahead. We can take this out, fix it up, and then place it back in. And hopefully it'll look really good. All right, so here is the Grand Emporium, or I guess part of it. The other part of it is just off to the side here. And so this needs a little bit of work. As you can see, the pieces are here for the first floor, but the trash can has a green plate under it, and as well as the ice cream thing and the mailbox as well. And while that is intentional, I don't love that. I would rather that be gray. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 2x4 gray plate under the both of these, and then a 2x2 under each of those, and then call that a day. This has a green 2x2 plate under it, and this has a blue corner plate under it. Again, I did check the instructions. That is supposed to be there, so I think I might just leave it for the time being. I don't love these flowers, but again, it's part of the set. It's not the end of the world. And then coming in here, most of this is actually correct. Most of the things that I'm missing are from the second floor. So I just need to go through, skim the instructions, make sure that everything is here, and then we will pretty much be good to go. I do really like these figures, and so it would be a shame to leave them inside the model. Typically what I do with modulars is I try and get all of the figures outside it on the base plate or, you know, in the surrounding area. So I don't know what I'm going to do about these two right here because they are supposed to be mannequins. So there is the one in that window, and then this one is the other one. So I don't know what to do about that. I might go ahead and just put them outside anyways as normal figures that are maybe doing some shopping. It doesn't really matter, I guess. It's not the end of the world, so I just have to pick what I want to do with that. But these features in the model, although they are kind of sparse, they are really, really nice. I did a full review of this, or I guess kind of an overview of it, in one of my previous videos, and I'll put that in the top right if you guys haven't seen that yet. This is a pretty nice model even for its day, and I think it holds up to this day, especially the exterior. The interior is a little lacking when you compare it to some of the more recent ones, but I like it. And so with that being said, we are going to go ahead and we are going to fix it up starting right now. All right, so that was actually a pretty simple fix. I just skimmed the instructions and I went through it all. The only major things that I had to fix were the 3 1x1 tiles that the previous owner had put here in place of the 1x3. So I put the 1x3 there, and then the other thing was the pieces to the escalator here, if I can take this off with one hand. And you'll see the escalator is all fixed up now, because before none of this was here. I had to add in the bricks and the cheese slopes and the kind of connecting piece on the top here. And so that helps lock the escalator in. It was actually on the second floor, but it's the same thing. So that is pretty much that there. And so with that, this is pretty much back to how it is supposed to be. I didn't go in and add the 2x4s and 2x2s yet. So I will be doing that before we place it in the city. But now that that is done, the only other thing that I really want to do aside from this is actually changing the tiles on the sidewalk. Because like you saw earlier with the Lego store and the flower shop, how I have it is I have the 2 studs of sidewalk extension. So then the tiles, the light gray tiles would be here. And then there would be a 2x2 tile in front of it, and then the 1x2 tile would not exist. So then it would just be light gray, 2x2, 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 and then so on and so forth. So I don't have the row of 1x2s up at the front of my sidewalks. That is just how I do things personally. And so with that, I have to go in and I have to change up all the tiling here. I'm going to leave this section back here as is behind the light gray. I think that's fine. It doesn't really need to be changed. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fix all of this up here, and we are going to get started on that. All right, so that was a pretty easy fix. The only extra pieces that were needed were 4 2x2 tiles and 4 2x2 corner tiles. And then that was pretty much it. So as you can see, the sidewalk is a little bit different now. So before, the 1x2s went all the way along the front here, but now it's the 2x2s, and then I put the 1x2s up at the back just for the spacing, and that seems to work out pretty nicely. And then I actually don't need to change this, which is nice. It's just less work for me. And then I also moved the grates up just to remind myself that those need to go on the sidewalk extensions. And that is pretty much that. I was left with 4 extra 1x2 tiles, which is actually perfect because I can use them for the grates. So I can just go in, place that there, and then that is all good to go. So that is pretty much that. And with that being said, this is actually ready to get placed into the city now. So let's bring this over back to the table and we can place it in and see how it all looks. All right, so I have the building placed now, and as you can see, I have most of the tiling in to connect it to the roads here. I just added a couple jumpers in there as well, just to kind of give some figures some spots to stand. And then as you can see over here, the mailbox is down because I need to grab a 1x2 tile for that grate right there, as well as these up here. And that is going to be pretty much that. And then we can see how the whole thing looks once it's done and has figures on it. All right, so I went ahead and I fixed up the sidewalk and I added the figures in, and I think that looks really good and I am pretty happy with that. And I also took the time to kind of fix up the flower shop over here. I didn't do a crazy amount of work with it. I pretty much just went ahead and I fixed up the facade. This little balcony right here where my finger is, I don't know what is going to go there. I want something other than just a plain window. So I'm thinking like a little balcony would be nice, but I don't know what the design of that's going to be. So I'm saving that, as well as finishing the building for its own video, as well as the interior, obviously. But I did also go ahead and replace that white wall on the other side, and so now it is right there. And so these 2 walls on the 2nd floor and 3rd floor that are next to the Grand Emporium have the white walls, and then these 2 walls next to the Lego store have the sand green. And so I think that looks pretty good, and it is essentially just a shell at the moment, but that will get fixed in its own video, like I said. And so that is pretty much it. That is the Grand Emporium integrated into the city here properly this time, instead of just placing it down. So now it is connected to the roads, and all of the buildings around it look good as well. So that's going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe, as well as click the bell notification so you don't miss any future uploads. If you guys have any feedback for me on the placement of the Grand Emporium, and also anything else that you want to see me add to this area of the city, make sure to drop a comment down below to let me know what you think. And once again, seriously, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.